Hello, everybody. Hi. Hey. Greetings. What's up? Howdy? No, that doesn't even sound right coming out of my mouth. These are some of the things that you may not have to think about. But me, I wake up every morning and I look in the mirror and I try to figure out how can I present myself to this world without being seen as a threat. Actually, how can I present myself to this world without being seen as a threat and also remaining myself at the same time? That's tough. Tougher than you think. Let me tell you why that is. My name is Harold Wallace III. I was born and raised in Los Angeles, California. Not the glamorous Hollywood, beautiful sunsets and beaches, LA that you might have seen in the movies, but the real LA. I was born in Inglewood, California, lived in Compton, lived in Hawthorne, and many other cities in the Los Angeles County. But Inglewood has this really cool tagline, and it's on all the billboards and all the signs, and it says, City of Champions, which is true. That's where the Los Angeles Lakers and the Los Angeles Kings played during their glory years in the 90s. Right there in the Great Western Forum in Inglewood, California. So let me tell you a little bit about my upbringing and why I have some of the struggles I have today. I'm not sure if you guys are somewhat familiar with the gang violence and the gang culture that's in Los Angeles, but did you know that there are over 450 active gangs in Los Angeles County, with most of them being over 50 years old, which means that there are generations on top of generations of gang bangers. With over 45,000 members currently active right now outside of the prison system. So, imagine this, walking out of your house, looking both ways to cross the street, and as you cross the street, somebody walks up to you and says, hey, where you from? I'll let you know now that those three words are the most intimidating and threatening words that you can hear as an African-American male in Los Angeles, especially from someone that you have seen and will continue to see in your neighborhood daily. So, let me take a quick second to basically tell you guys and tell my parents, thank you guys for letting me be here today. My mother and my late father, rest in peace. But I also want to apologize to my mother, my beautiful mother, because some of the information that I'm about to share with you all today is new news to you and new news to her as well. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of the things that I'm about to say now may be a little bit rough, but can you imagine seeing a man shot with a 12 gauge at the age of 7 and not being able to tell anybody? There's a certain amount of traumatic flashbacks and numbness and anxiety that comes with that. What about being robbed at gunpoint at the age of 12? What about hearing sirens and gunshots so often and so close in proximity that they basically are a regular day soundtrack for you? These are some of the things that are amazingly wrong but normal to people who come from where I come from. Now, I handled my business in the classroom, and I took care of business, and actually around this time, I was almost labeled with the behavior disorder because I like to talk during work time. It took me to get to 3rd grade before the teacher finally noticed that I wasn't simply talking, I just wasn't being challenged. My work was done faster, and my work was correct, and I was just wondering why everybody else wasn't done yet. So because of the way I handled myself in school, my parents didn't really bother me much. They didn't care about the moves that I was making. I was a lot more discreet about my moves, unlike my older brother, who was a lot more reckless and in your face with his gang affiliation. But I basically learned how to carry myself on the streets, and I learned how to carry myself in school. And this is where the foundation is built for code switching. Code switching is basically the changing of one's language, dialect, and demeanor to fit the atmosphere that you're currently in. One of the best to do it, and on one of the biggest stages, was our very own past President Obama. You see here him shaking the hand of the assistant coach of the U.S. basketball team, and then right next to him, shaking the hand and embracing Kevin Durant, just a little bit different than the one before. So he definitely was a professional at code switching, and you guys got an opportunity to see it. Now, some of the things that come natural to the majority don't really come natural for me as a minority. I'm not just a regular minority. I am a black man. I am a bearded black man. I'm a big bearded black man. Actually, I'm a big, bald, bearded black man. So I see things a little bit different. When I'm walking down the street, I notice things. When I'm holding the door for someone, I notice things. When I'm getting onto the elevator, I notice things. Even working in higher education, I notice things. Basically, I have to put forth an effort to do above and beyond to make sure that people feel comfortable within my presence. So, when I am walking down the street, I put on a smile the closer I get to you to make sure that you know I'm a nice black man. And then getting on the elevator, I purposely move myself to the far corner so that you have as much room as you need to feel how you want. But I always make sure that I ask, which floor? But lastly, when I'm holding that door, I put on the biggest smile possible because I want to make sure that that person understands that they are entering or exiting that building with the friendliest of black men. So I was blessed to make it through my undergrad and my master's program with very little parental financial help. And I'm very proud to say that. But definitely ran into some obstacles and some walls that probably were there because I didn't have as much guidance as I probably needed, which is why I'm in higher education today. I basically want to be the person that I needed in college for our college students of today. It was very discouraging to look on campus and try to look for someone that looked like me, and I could not find them in administration, faculty, or staff at my university. And if I did, could they relate? Could they relate to my background and my upbringing? And, who can really relate to the smart kid from the inner city hood? Then, after working in higher education for a few years, I quickly learned that one of the major reasons why it's not many people that look like me and are from where I'm from working in higher education is because of the pay. We all know that educators don't get paid what they deserve, especially for playing a major role in molding our future leaders of tomorrow. But maybe another reason just might be is that people who look like me understand the atmosphere in which I work in. So this is the hard part. I need everybody to get their mixing thing going. Everybody get your arm going like this for me, okay? I basically had to mix my upbringing and my background with my education and my schooling, with my stature and my race and my gender. It's almost like mixing up oil and water. So, at my predominantly white institution that I work at now, at Pittsburgh State University, I'm the assistant director in the Office of Student Diversity. But I just happen to work at the predominantly white institution in the predominantly white corner of the predominantly white state. As you guys can see here, state of Kansas is 2.9 million, with 86% of that being white. But luckily here at Pittsburgh State, we don't deal with too many issues with blatant racism, which is great. But I cannot help but to think about the students that deal with microaggressions on a regular basis. Microaggressions are basically the comments or actions that are usually subtle and unintentional, but express a expressed a prejudice towards a marginalized group. So, for instance, asking a Hispanic student, hey, where are you from? And they say, oh, I'm from Wichita. And you say, no, but where are you from? That's a microaggression. Or telling an Asian American student that, hey, you really talk English really well. That's a microaggression. Or maybe even telling the African American girl that, hey, you're really cute for a black girl. As if there are levels of cuteness based on race, I guess. But those are major microaggressions, and they become overwhelming. And more, there's becoming more ways of showing your allegiance to one side or the other. Either that be your Make America Great Again hats, or your oldie but goodie Confederate flag, anything. You fill in the blank. The Confederate flag's over everything. But while you show your allegiance, do you think about the discomfort that you may be causing to our minority population due to our current climate, our current political climate? So, we really have an opportunity here. The majority can really get rid of code switching. You guys have the power. All you got to do is lie. Just lie. I lie sometimes. I'm sure everybody in here, if you lied before, don't lie. LIE. Learn, implement, and embrace. By learn, I mean learn a little bit about yourself. Learn about your background. Learn about your history. That's where self-identity comes from. But the most important thing is to learn about someone that looks different than you. Learn about a different race, a different culture, a different religion. After you get that done, you're ready for the next step. Implement. Use that education to put it into effect. Build that relationship with somebody that looks different. Have those conversations. Ask those questions. I guarantee when a person knows the question is from a genuine place, no matter how you word it, you will get a response. Actually, I have a story about when I was a ninth grader and I was in world history class. I was learning about all of these awesome religions. But of course, the major four that really came up often were Christianity, Buddhism, Judaism, and Islam. 3 weeks later, I found myself at the kiosk in the mall trying to get some new earrings, trying to stay fly. And I saw the man had a Quran next to his cash register. So I said, hey, is that a Quran? And he said, yes. And I said, oh, that's cool. So are you a Muslim? And with a little bit of hesitation, he said, yes. And I said, oh, man, that's awesome. So are you Sunni or Shia? And when I said that, he turned around with such amazement that a 14-year-old black boy knew about the two major branches of Islam. After that, we had a 20-minute conversation about his thoughts and my assumptions and his assumptions, and it was an awesome conversation. And at the end of it, I ended up getting an awesome discount as well. Embrace. Embrace is to basically support a belief, a change, a theory willingly and enthusiastically. Now that's the tough part right there, willingly and enthusiastically. We do all three of those things and we lie a little bit and we can make the world a better place. So, there was a really smart lady, there is a really smart lady named Jane Elliott. Some of you guys might be familiar with some of her work, but she shut down my definition for diversity. I used to always say it's like a melting pot. All of us just in there together, just enjoying life, and it's just harmonious and great. She shut that down by basically saying, we don't want a melting pot. We want a salad bowl. We want a salad bowl with different vegetables. Basically saying, I want lettuce to be lettuce, and cucumbers to be cucumbers, and onions to be onions, and tomatoes to be tomatoes, and all be in the same place and coexist and be great. And salads are good. I had one yesterday. But envision this, a world where code switching doesn't no longer exist. It's simply a concept that's taught in psychology and history class. And we learn to love each other and embrace each other's differences and put forth the extra effort to learn about those differences. Man, Honestly, it's as simple as this. The minorities put forth so much effort, but if the majority put at least 10% of that same effort into learning, embracing, understanding, and engaging the minority population, then the states could really be a utopia for us all. But that just wouldn't be America, would it? So, until then, I'll code switch away because I have a family to feed and bills to pay. Thank you very much.